And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the RS moniker. It's a very, very powerful term in Audi terminology because that means performance. And today we have two of them right here in Barcelona on the racetrack. First up, this is the RS3, which should be coming to India in the middle of 2025. We are not sure yet, but this is supposed to come to India. It's the first time ever it will make its entry, and this is the answer somewhat to the Mercedes A-Class because this is a pocket rocket with a boot. It's a better, well-proportioned car, and in terms of driving, this is a really smooth breeze, a mental car to drive. In terms of packaging, they have not given too much of tech. Even the seat controls are manual, so that explains that this is totally targeted to the enthusiast in you, and it does a good job. We are going to drive this, but in the right color. More of that on the driver's seat. But for now, let's talk about the 2025 Audi RS Q8, and this one comes with a performance badge. Now, that changes a lot of things, but not much has changed though. The front bumper, the rear bumper has changed. The LED light matrix is of the new design language. The alloys are different. It's a 23-inch rim now, and honestly, this is the most gorgeous part of the car, period. So that is it from the front. Now what's happened is that they have moved the catalytic converter in a position which has given them a 1 kg weight reduction. They have removed isolation material from the front and the rear, which has further reduced the weight. They have slapped a 48 volt mild hybrid system, which means that this also is going to be an efficient car. Now, who's looking for efficiency when you talk about an RS Q8? But they have given you, take it. It does 0 to 100 in 3.6 seconds, and that's always a great thing. This also competes with the Lamborghini URUS. If you're a smart guy, you'll go for this than the URUS because URUS and this have 95% similarity, similar underpinnings. That's tuned better, that sounds better, but this one is the car that if you are a smart buyer, you save just half. This would cost you 2.5 crores, and that is going to cost 5 crore plus. Enough of talking, we need to go and drive hard. But before we do that, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Audi RS Q8 has always been a very understated performance SUV. It's like that car which Audi just woke up one day and said, let's make a sports car. Okay, they made it, and then they said, let's put that into a SUV, and that's exactly what you get, because this has performance figures which will actually make you rub your eyes in disbelief. It also competes with his big brother in the same family, the mighty Lamborghini URUS. Why I say that? Because people who know that the underpinnings and the performance figures, all of them are very close resemblance to the big boy. But still, people who want to buy the Lamborghini URUS, they buy it for the URUS because it's also from the house of Lamborghini. Audi RS Q8 and this one is a performance model, doesn't disappoint in terms of driving pleasure because this also now gets RS mode. Now the moment you press that, for example this one, once you press it, this RS one, this goes bonkers. Remember, I'm driving in windy roads. These are all windy, narrow roads and the turns, everything. You see how gripping it is. You will have that sense of confidence on driving this because braking is on point, my friend. And braking is, when the braking is on point, and when you drive a performance car, you get that comfort. Because these are large ceramic brakes. Not much has changed though. When I'm sitting in the cockpit, I see very familiar space, same two screens. Audi has not done too much because I believe that they've just done about a cosmetic change. The power figures are good. It now gets a 631 brake horsepower, but 850 Nm of torque, which is almost in the territory of the URUS. Price wise, this is going to be half of URUS, but it can give you almost 90% of the thrill. But in terms of driving, this boy is a mighty car. For an SUV, you will really not believe, because just one trick, you are ready to fire. And that's the beauty of this. And the fun of the RS Q8, I have been told, that is to drive on the racetrack. So without wasting any more time, Shall we just go there?
This is what I mean by Audi RS Q8. You take this on the track, and a track like this, which has got 4.1 kilometers of stretch, you know you have done something good in life. Now, did I say that this does 0 to 100 in 3.6 seconds? That's a second faster than before. And what matters is that they've reduced the weight, because the insulation in the front and the rear has reduced, which means that the sound I'm hearing inside is much more better. Now, did I also say that they have gone hybrid? This is a mild hybrid system with a 48 volt, because they want you to have a better fuel efficiency. I don't know if that's something that you're looking at, but Audi has given you that. I'm sure nobody's interested in efficiency when you drive a RS Q8, but it also gives you an initial boost. So that hybrid system really works in its favor. But hybrid system also adds weight to the car. In one side, they have reduced the kg by removing the catalytic converter from the position. Now, you know, catalytic converter gives you a better emission. It also gives you better efficiency over the health of the car. It converts the harmful gases to less harmful gases. Now, all that is good. What we are really interested in is how hard the RS Q8 can hold itself in these nice corners. And now, this is what I mean by a performance SUV. Now, this is what the Audi RS Q8 is meant for. It's meant to drive hard, at corners, and it's doing a great job at that. Look at it. I am driving right now in a mode which is RS2. The ESC is off. It's in fact the sports ESC, which basically means that I do get some acceleration, and I do get its tail to wag out, but it puts it back in system and the track when it thinks that I've deviated a lot, which is a great thing, because it's like a control. But I would have loved it if I could have managed to get the ESC off completely, because we were told not to do that since it rained heavily. And you can see that it's an SUV, but I'm forgetting it's like a sports car, like I said, which has been put into an SUV. Look at this, and then we are going to hit this corners, and I have to move very fast, and I have done that without touching it. Full marks to me, and boy, I can definitely enjoying this. But this is how an SUV is supposed to drive. But who wants to buy a sedan? It is not as fun as the RS3 though, which we are going to drive, but I can tell you it is very, very lethal on the track especially. It's like a child has been thrown on a candy store with nothing around. You have this RS Q8, you have a track, and you have nothing in front of you or behind you. What's stopping you is this rain, which has made it very, very slippery. Otherwise, this was the day to remember. Yes, RS Q8 lives up to its name. It has got a 40 bhp more. It's got 50 Nm of torque more than before. Without changing much, it has done a lot, and it can clearly see that change of power. It attributed itself. It has that acceleration, it has that agility, and it has that balance, which is very, very important. And this is the other car of which I was talking about, the answer to the Mercedes-Benz A-Class, the pocket rocket from Audi, the RS3. It's never come to India till date, but I guess it's high time it makes its presence felt, because we need an enthusiastic car. This will not make sense, because from the price point of view, it's going to be outpriced itself, because it is an expensive car with all the taxes, and since it will come as a CBU, it might be on the other side of the price point that we want. But you know what, in terms of driving, it is really so smooth. Now, in terms of handling, it is mind-blowing. It just grips its pedal to the road like a glue. Look at it. And then it's a 2.5 liter 5-cylinder inline, and which gives out 500 Nm of torque, which is just the right amount of spec, because it's not too explosive. At the same time, you can handle the speed very well, and it
gives you the acceleration and the pickup in a very nice way. And this exhaust note is so nice. It's just the proper sound. It's almost like a V8 you are driving, and it's of course a sedan, so it's very well planted. This car gives you all the bells and whistles to have that enthusiastic drive. It also gets this RS, these two buttons, which is the RS and the boost mode, and it also has so mindful because it's not giving you the motors for an electronically adjusted car. When you see that, you realize that they actually target to that enthusiastic segment, because if you give that, you just add a few kgs in terms of the motor. So they want to keep the car as light as possible, and this shows in the nimbleness, because the way it handles, oh boy, it is very refined and very smooth. It just goes about its business in a no nonsense way. And if you get a winding road like this, then you know that you are up for some great time. Look at the way it turns around. It is just mind-blowing. Well, but this is also a good car to drive when you take this on a racetrack, which we shall do now. So let's go there.
Only thing I don't like about the RS3 when I'm driving on the track is that when I'm wearing the helmet, my seats are hurting, this headrest is protruding, so I'm always sitting like this, my neck is coming out, hanging in the balance, because I'm also driving very hard, and this is such a machine that you cannot just drive slow, because even at turns, even at steep turns, this just doesn't stop. It just wants to be always pushed hard. And look at the way I'm turning in right now with the cones. I pass once again. So should RS3 come to India? Definitely. Will it be overpriced? Definitely. Will we want it? Hell yes. Who will not want this? And it handles so much better, especially if you're driving in the tracks. Now you'll ask me the question, where will you drive in India? Well, we have a couple of spots and more coming in. Otherwise, you can make your own illegal tracks. Woohoo! This is, and this track is also very playful. And we are at the end of our joyrides.
We are back to where we started. What a day it was. Sun is out. It's Barcelona, and we had two amazing cars, the RS3 and the RSQ8. It's time to give a verdict. Now, this is going to come to India in the middle of 2025. It's already started selling in Europe, but the allocation in India is going to be less. This is a car which I said is meant for someone who is looking for a performance SUV. It really checks in all the boxes that you need. In terms of design, I would have liked if there was more changes. The changes are pretty cosmetic. It's not really talk about. There's nothing changed underneath, but still they have managed to give you extra power, extra performance by changing a few things here and there. It was a good car, so it remains a good car. There is nothing that you don't like about this car. If you are someone in the market for that bracket, then this really fits the well very well. And yes, in some space, it's also better buy than the Lamborghini Hero. But that choice is yours. Drop in the comments what you think about it. If I had the money, if I'm looking for a performance SUV, then I might just settle for it. Kind of makes sense. What do you say? See you in the next one.